Have you ever stayed in a hotel that made your skin crawl, where every creak and shadow filled you with dread? Imagine a place, a desolate haven standing solitary against the backdrop of a timeless landscape. Our protagonist, weary from a long journey, finds themselves drawn to this eerie structure. A hotel, it seems, but one that is far removed from the comforting embrace of the familiar. It looms ominously, its facade a grotesque caricature of hospitality, its windows like vacant eyes staring into the abyss of the night. As the footsteps of our protagonist echo in the silence, the hotel seems to shudder in response. Its doors creak open, as if beckoning the newcomer into its darkened folds. The interior is no less welcoming than the exterior. A chill runs down the spine, not from the cold, but from the eerie silence that pervades the air. The kind of silence that whispers of untold stories and secrets buried deep within the walls. And then, the strange inhabitants of this hotel make their presence known. A receptionist, whose smile never quite reaches her eyes, hands over the room key with an unsettling eagerness. The other guests, each more peculiar than the last, glance furtively from the shadows, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and caution. Even the staff, moving with an uncanny synchrony, seem to be part of a macabre dance choreographed by the hotel itself. Every corner of this hotel seems to pulse with a life of its own, a life that is as unsettling as it is intriguing. Each room, each hallway, each creaking stair seems to be a gateway to a world that is far removed from the realm of the ordinary. Our protagonist, oblivious to the undercurrents of unease, steps into the labyrinth, drawn into the belly of the beast. They are yet to realize that they have crossed the threshold into a realm where the rules of reality no longer apply. Little did the protagonist know, that was the last moment of ordinary life they would ever know. Imagine stepping into a hotel room that seems perfectly normal, but the air is heavy with an unexplained dread. Our protagonist finds themselves in just such a room, the number 13 on the door doing little to quell the unease that shivers down their spine. Despite the apparent ordinariness of the space, a sense of foreboding hangs in the air. The room is oddly chilly, a stark contrast to the warm lobby they had just left moments before. The wallpaper, a once cheerful pattern, now appears faded and forlorn, while the vintage furniture, instead of adding charm, contributes to an uncanny feeling of being stuck in a forgotten time. The first sign that something is amiss comes in the form of the lights. They flicker intermittently, casting eerie shadows that seem to dance and twist along the walls. Then there's the inexplicable cold draft that seems to seep in from nowhere, chilling our protagonist to the bone. They try to dismiss it, blaming it on faulty wiring and poor insulation, but the creeping dread is hard to shake off. But what truly sends a chill down their spine are the whispers. Soft, barely audible sounds that seem to echo around the room when everything else is silent. It's as if the room is breathing, whispering secrets from a bygone era. Our protagonist, though unnerved, tries to rationalize these strange occurrences, attributing them to the wind or maybe the old pipes. Yet as the hours roll on, these oddities become harder to dismiss. The whispers grow louder, the cold more biting, and the flickering lights more persistent. The room, once just a place to rest, now feels like a trap, a place that holds on to its past with a vice-like grip. As the night fell, the protagonist realized they were not alone in that room. The sense of unease had grown into palpable fear, a dread that clung to every corner of the room. Something was there with them, hidden in the shadows, a silent witness to their growing terror. What would you do if you awoke to find an unknown entity in your hotel room? Our protagonist had to grapple with that very question in the dead of night. Their sleep was interrupted by a cold, eerie presence that sent chills straight to their bones. As if touched by an icy hand, they woke up, their eyes meeting the specter in their room. The ghost was not the faded, ethereal figure one might expect. Instead, it was a solid, terrifying presence that seemed to suck the warmth out of the room. Its eyes were like twin black holes, seeming to draw in the light around them. Its skin was as pale as moonlight, stretched over high cheekbones in a face that was both beautiful and horrifying in equal measure. The protagonist could feel the weight of those eyes on them, the ghost's gaze chilling them to their core. They could hear the whispers of the ghost, a soft sibilant sound that filled the room, like the rustling of dry leaves in the wind. It wasn't just a whisper, it was a message, a chilling proclamation that rang in their ears. It spoke of a tragedy, a tale of despair and betrayal that had been buried deep within the walls of the hotel. It spoke of a time when the hotel was more than just a building, when it was a home filled with love and laughter, now tainted with sorrow and regret. The protagonist listened, frozen in their bed as the ghost's tale unfolded. The words seemed to seep into their skin, etching themselves into their memory. The ghost's message was a stark reminder of the past, a past that was still very much alive in the hotel. As abruptly as it had appeared, the ghost vanished, leaving our protagonist alone once again. The room was silent, the only evidence of the spectral visitation, the cold chills still lingering in the air. The protagonist was left in shock, the ghost's message echoing in their ears. The haunting encounter would forever be etched in their mind, a chilling reminder of the hotel's tormented past. Have you ever stumbled upon a secret so dark it could cost you your life? As the protagonist delved deeper into the hotel's enigmatic past, the echoes of its sinister history began to surface. In the depths of the hotel, hidden away from prying eyes, our protagonist discovered a dusty, forgotten room. Here they found journals and faded photographs, remnants of a time long past. The hotel, it seemed, bore witness to a tale of tragedy and despair, a tale whose echoes now haunted its halls. Our protagonists found themselves drawn into the story of a young woman, a former resident of the hotel. Her name was Amelia, a vibrant soul with a promising future. But her life was cut short in the prime of her youth, the victim of a heinous act of violence that shook the hotel to its core. Amelia's spirit, it seemed, was the ghost that haunted the hotel, trapped in a cycle of sorrow and vengeance. The more the protagonists delved into Amelia's story, the more they found themselves entwined in her despair. They felt her anguish, her yearning for justice, her cries for help that echoed through the ages. The ghost, it appeared, was not just a haunting presence, but a cry for justice from a soul wronged. But the revelation did not end there. The tragic tale took a more sinister turn as the protagonist discovered the culprit behind Amelia's untimely demise. A trusted figure in the hotel, a wolf in sheep's clothing, had taken Amelia's life and hidden the truth behind a veil of deception. The hotel's dark past, it seemed, was not just a tale of tragedy, but a saga of deception and betrayal. The protagonist, now aware of the truth, was faced with a choice: to ignore the haunting cries of the past, or to seek justice for Amelia, to free her soul from the endless cycle of despair. The protagonist was now entangled in a deadly game with the hotel's dark past. Could you escape from a place where the walls close in and the past haunts the present? Imagine the heart pounding, the adrenaline rushing, as our protagonist finds themselves in a desperate race against the unseen. Every corridor twists and turns into another, every door a gateway to another chilling memory. The hotel, once a sanctuary, now a maze of horror. The protagonist, once a guest, now a prisoner. The ghost, once a whisper, now a roar. The air feels thick, as if the very walls are closing in, and the past is no longer a memory, but a living, breathing entity. The final showdown begins. It's not a battle of strength, but of wills. The protagonist, armed with nothing but resolve, faces the ghost. It's a dance of fear and courage, of despair and hope, and then as quickly as it began, it ends. As they stepped out into the dawn, the protagonist knew they would never be the same.